You're listening to the RCWR Post Show with Lee Sanders.
Coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, New York, New Jersey, wherever you may be listening to this radio broadcast right now. We thank you so much for checking it out, as it's the RCWR Post Show, folks, on Sunday night, June 17th, 2012. I am, of course, as always, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, and I thank you all so much for tuning in to this special episode as we just got done wrapping up the 2012 edition of WWE No Way Out, coming to us from the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Definitely going to cover everything that had transpired at tonight's pay-per-view, and definitely going to be sharing with you all some of the fans' reactions as we had took to Twitter, and throughout the night, the entire time that we were watching the pay-per-view, we interacted with the WWE fans, and we had received a lot of feedback with regards to how this pay-per-view was. And although it kind of came off early on to be a bit in the negative favor, at the end, it just overwhelmingly came in as great pay-per-view, decent pay-per-view. I'm definitely going to be sharing with you my thoughts on how I thought of the pay-per-view. If you wish to be a part of the show, you are more than welcome to do so. All you got to do is just kick back, smile, and dial. Call us toll-free at 1-888-342-9848, folks. That's right. That's 1-888-342-9848. Kick back, smile, and dial. Press that option to make yourself be live on the air, and we will definitely let you do so, sharing your thoughts on how you either disliked or liked the No Way Out pay-per-view. And we just have to go through a quick little shout-outs and give you a programming note before we go right into it, folks. And we just definitely want to take this time out right now to thank you, the listeners that are checking out this show right now, especially major shout-out to those of you who might be listening to this show for the first time. Really hope that you have an awesome time listening to this. And tonight's episode, folks, is being sponsored by the NWA Championship Wrestling from Florida. That's right, the NWA Championship Wrestling from Florida. Now, we're going to be doing a new NWA show with them later on this summer. That's going to be making its debut. We're going to be covering everything that's been happening in NWA Florida wrestling. We'll also be covering what all is going on in NWA Korea. So it's going to be a pretty awesome show. So more details about that, folks, as it becomes available. But in the meantime, do yourself a favor, especially if you're that old school fan that remembers the NWA, you like that independent type of wrestling, you remember all the great history with regards to the NWA matches, do yourself a favor and check them out, as you can visit them on their website, which last I saw is in development right now, but it's quickly going to get the proper treatment that it deserves. So hopefully it'll be complete within maybe the next 2 weeks. But you can check them out right now. Hit them up at nwafloridatv.net. That's nwafloridatv.net. And you can also check them out on Facebook. Highly recommend that you do. You could befriend them, like their page. Check them out on Facebook at NWA Championship Wrestling from Florida. Again, that's on Facebook. Look them up at NWA Championship Wrestling from Florida. Let them know Lee sent you, and they'll treat you real good. Now, we definitely got to thank those of you that had checked out our show from this past Tuesday and Thursday, as we did a special Tuesday night edition of the RCWR show where we had TNA gut check tryout wrestler Joey Ryan stop by. Had a fantastic time interviewing that guy right there. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, folks, highly recommend that you do. And we also have been receiving great buzz and praise for our Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown. Definitely want to give that a listen if you haven't yet. And one quick programming note, I'll bring it up at the end of the show, but just thought that we would let you all know that we're very sad here at the RCWR show to report the recent passing of Rodney King. Now, I am going to be stepping out of the wrestling ring talk zone-wise, and I'm going to be doing a very special RCWR show episode covering the life of Rodney King, and I'm also going to be talking about my personal experiences as I was actually living in California during the 1992 riots. So you definitely want to check out that piece. Highly recommend that you do. I have really great, interesting stories to tell while also looking at the rise and sudden fall of Rodney King, who suddenly died at the age of 47. That's going to be coming on Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR show. You'll be also able to listen to that episode on our sister website over at infinityoneproductions.com. So just thought I'd let you all know about that. Now, without any further ado, let's go on ahead and let's talk about the WWE No Way Out pay-per-view, folks. And man, it's hard to believe, but it has been 3 years. Can you believe it, folks? It's been 3 years since we've had a WWE No Way Out pay-per-view. That's right. It's returned after a 3-year hiatus. A lot of great memories when you think about No Way Out, as who could forget the 2009 edition where it was HBK, Shawn Michaels taking on JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, in a all-or-nothing match in which if JBL won, then he owned Shawn Michaels. He owned the name, the brand, for the rest of his career. However, if Michaels were to win, then he would have been paid everything from JBL and would have been released from his contract to JBL. Who could forget that storyline that was going on where JBL had revealed to HBK that he was aware of his financial problems and that he could make it all go away if Shawn Michaels would become a servant, if you will, a personal aide to JBL to ensure that he becomes the WWE champion going into that year's WrestleMania. Really great angles that were happening right there. If you're not really familiar with that, highly recommend you go check it out on YouTube. It'll be your best friend. Promise you won't be disappointed with what you see right there. Also, who could forget the No Way Out pay-per-view from back in 2004 when the late Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero, shocked the entire WWE universe by beating Brock Lesnar and becoming the WWE champion. Though he only had received that belt one time and it was a short run, it was still a phenomenal night at that No Way Out pay-per-view as the crowd just erupted in euphoria over Guerrero beating Brock Lesnar. Who could forget that? And who could forget the No Way Out 2003 edition where The Rock defeated Hulk Hogan in their rematch from WrestleMania? Another great moment right there. And, of course, we can't talk about No Way Out, folks, without mentioning the 2001 edition where we had Triple H taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin in the 3 stages of hell. Who could forget that grueling contest? Really great matchup right there. And, of course, No Way Out is not complete unless we mention the 2000 edition where a lot of hardcore WWE, WWF fans truly felt as though this was the pay-per-view. This was the year where Triple H really got put on the map as he did a Hell in a Cell match against Cactus Jack Mick Foley for the WWF Championship. Now, Triple H, he doesn't like hearing that, but it is what it is, as Mick Foley, in some shape or form, did help elevate the game, no pun intended, to that next stage in his WWE career. So with all that said in mind, really great memories when you think about the No Way Out series. Now, let's talk about what all had went down on the YouTube pre-show, folks, as if y'all were not able to see it, you missed out on some really great pre-show storylines that helped build into the matches that were going to come for the actual pay-per-view itself when it started at 8 p.m. 7 Pacific. Now, we would see AW talking with his clients, Primo and Epico, along with Rosa Mendez. And Primo and Epico, they're very upset with AW. They're saying, hey, man, how could you let 30 days pass up, and as a result, we're no longer able to invoke our rematch clause and try to get back our WWE tag titles? How could you let this slip? You're supposed to be our manager. And AW would quickly point out to them, no. I am just your promoter. Rosa Mendez is your manager. I just do what I need to do to promote you guys, to hype you up. But look, we have an opportunity here, as later tonight we're going to be involved in that tag team fatal four-way where the winner becomes the new number one contenders to face the WWE Tag Champions. And AW promised them that before this night was going to be over, that the spotlight was definitely going to be put on them. And they sound very pleased at what they heard. As from there, we would go to our pre-show match. And again, folks, got to give a lot of praise to WWE here. I'll definitely touch up on that in a little bit. But we had our pre-show match where Brodus Clay took on David Otunga. And if you listen to the Call That Match special I did for No Way Out, which is a YouTube exclusive, if you haven't checked it out, highly recommend that you do. Search it on YouTube, keywords, the RCWR show. I had said, hey, this storyline, it just seemed like it just came out of nowhere between these two guys. But at the same time, I also mentioned that it should be a decent match nonetheless. And this match definitely did not disappoint. I was actually surprised at the quality of this match, and it's not every day that I'm able to say that, because Brodus Clay, from what we saw weeks prior, it just seemed like he was doing a lot of squash matches, but then it seemed like as time went on, he was in the ring longer and longer until finally he's actually putting on great matches. And this match, folks, like I said, it just didn't disappoint. It was a fantastic match. We would see Brodus Clay taking it early to David Otunga, but at one point in the contest, Brodus Clay would get very hot, heated, and the referee would have no choice but to step in twice to try to cool Brodus Clay off. And that second time, David Otunga, he got just enough of a second break of wind that he needed to start going to work on Brodus Clay, as he would focus on attacking the left knee. And he would focus on that left knee throughout the remainder of the match. But in the end, Brodus Clay would come back, and just when you thought that maybe, just maybe, Brodus Clay was going to be able to pick up a win over David Otunga, maybe bust out his little body splash move, homage to the Ultimate Warrior maybe, who knows? We wouldn't even see that, as at one point during this contest, near the end, we would see Brodus Clay take out David Otunga as David Otunga goes flying outside of the ring. David Otunga, he's just giving Brodus Clay this mean stare down, and he's just looking at him like, what can I do? And the referee is just counting, and he's letting Otunga know, hey, get back in the ring before I count to 10. And Otunga just keeps looking at Brodus Clay, folks. And Otunga, he just lets the ref count to 10. He starts flexing his muscles, and he walks off. So, really, I like the way that this ended. It definitely says to me that not by a long shot that this rivalry between these two men are over. Now, we would see Brodus Clay again, folks, as this would not be the only time we would see him. That's your little teaser right there, as we'll definitely let you know later on during this show where Brodus Clay popped up next. Now, from there, folks, we go to a backstage segment now where we see Josh Matthews is talking with the C-Nation leader himself, John Cena. And John Cena points out to Josh Matthews that he went to Twitter and he asked the following question to his fans. If this is the last time you will see me, if I were to leave tomorrow, would you still remember me? And John Cena would proclaim that everyone, of course, would still remember him and that everyone has been waiting for No Way Out as they know what's at stake, as this is the event that's taking place here that is going to be the backdrop for next year's WrestleMania. John Cena is well aware that when this night is over, folks, when this pay-per-view is said and done and it's in the history books, someone will be fired tonight, and it will shake the very foundation of the WWE. The only question remains, will it be him or will it be John Laurinaitis? But again, the face of the WWE will change, and there is no way out of that. And from there, folks, we would get the official start of our No Way Out pay-per-view as our first match, which had a lot of people upset, was the World Heavyweight Championship match as Sheamus defended the title against Mr. Show-Off himself, Dolph Ziggler. And I was paying attention to some of the Twitter feeds from the people that were talking about this pay-per-view. And I must admit, when it came to this first match, we definitely had our share of people that were not pleased with seeing this match to kick off the pay-per-view, as one user had kindly put it, and I'm going to share these words with you right now, as this is exactly what they said. They said here, to have the World Heavyweight Championship match kick off this pay-per-view is an insult, and it really tarnishes the value of this championship. I couldn't agree with you more, honestly. I definitely was feeling the very same way, but then once this match really started, I was very pleased. I think that this was the strong opening that they needed, because Dolph Ziggler, folks, if you did not watch this pay-per-view, Dolph Ziggler was really damn impressive in this contest. I am not overselling this man. This man really brought it. As I'm sitting and I'm watching this pay-per-view with my staff, I'm saying to myself, wait a minute now, remind me, who is the World Heavyweight Champion again here? Because the way Dolph Ziggler was really bringing it to Sheamus at several points during this contest, folks, this is just my honest opinion, and some of y'all, you may not agree with me, but in my eyes at least, the way Dolph Ziggler came off during this contest, at a lot of times, he came off as if he was downright over-wrestling Sheamus. Sheamus just really looked out of his league, outmatched. And I was just really blown away by this. And the crowd, the New Jersey crowd, oh, man, they were really behind Dolph Ziggler. He definitely won him over new fans on this night as he really brought it. Favorite part during this match, he had Sheamus in a headlock, and the two of them, they're laying in the middle of the ring, and oh my God, you want to talk about Mr. Show-Off, folks, as Dolph Ziggler, he does a handstance while he has the headlock applied to Sheamus, and he held it for at least, it seemed like an infinity, man. It seemed like he was holding that pose for at least 10 to 15 seconds. Very amazing agility. Not too many people can do that. I know I definitely can't do that. I'm not going to even try. I don't even care how much money you put out there. I'm not even going to try to attempt that because I'm just going to land right on the top of my head, and it's going to be really ugly. So in either case here, folks, really great, strong showing from Dolph Ziggler, and probably the smart fans already knew going into this pay-per-view that there was really no chance that Dolph Ziggler was going to win. If you listen to my Call That Match special for the No Way Out pay-per-view, I even sat up and said that there really was going to be no way for Ziggler to retain this, to win this belt, but that it wasn't about winning the belt. It was about taking advantage of an opportunity because the WWE roster was just so thin. It is thin right now as they're missing a ton of stars. Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, Brock Lesnar. They are missing a ton of people. They didn't get Triple H back until tonight. More on that in a little bit. But the roster was just so thin, they had no choice but to go to Dolph Ziggler after whatever went down with Alberto Del Rio. And Dolph Ziggler, he commanded the spotlight tonight. I definitely would be surprised, folks, if WWE management, booking, creative, they did not walk away from this match that Ziggler had with Sheamus and say to themselves, you know what, we definitely need to elevate this guy more. Now, some people will sit up and say that him winning the World Heavyweight title a while back was nothing more than a fluke, that it never really happened. Well, on this night, folks, Dolph Ziggler definitely proved, at least in my eyes, and probably a lot of Dolph Ziggler fans' eyes, why he should definitely be a WWE champion or World Heavyweight champion right now. So, with all that praise said and done, I think you all know where I'm going with this, as Sheamus would retain his World Heavyweight title. But again, folks, Dolph Ziggler, really impressive in this match. Now, to a backstage segment we go now, where we see John Laurinaitis, and my God, his colors. This guy was wearing red, white, blue. He was wearing a red blazer, red pants, white T-shirt, white collared shirt, blue tie, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this, and I'm saying to myself, why do you have these bright colors on? Independence Day isn't for a good minute now. We got like a month to go here. Why so early? As he's catching up with the WWE chairman, Vince McMahon, and he says to Vince McMahon that he hopes that after Big Show defeats John Cena, that perhaps the two of them could have a very good working relationship going forward. And he would try to extend his hand to Mr. McMahon. But Mr. McMahon was not having any of that, as he just continued to walk on and proceed to his office, where he shut the door in John Laurinaitis' face. And talk about bad timing, as backstage man Josh Matthews tries to get a word from John Laurinaitis and mentions to him how is the pressure, as tonight he could be fired. And John Laurinaitis, he just took some really low blow shots to Josh Matthews. Now, for those of you that may not be familiar with Josh Matthews, several years back, he had tried to go for Tough Enough, but some unfortunate stuff had went down with him, and he wasn't able to pursue his wrestling career as a result, and he became a color commentator, backstage interview guy. Well, John Laurinaitis would take shots at that, which was just really below the belt. I honestly didn't feel that it was needed, but at the same time, it was great to hear John Laurinaitis deliver it, as I really could not picture anybody else delivering it. I couldn't even picture Vince McMahon delivering it, folks. So it was really good to hear those things come out of Laurinaitis' mouth as he realized that there's a lot of pressure on and that it's pressure that he welcomes. He welcomes that responsibility of being the Raw and SmackDown GM and Executive Vice President of Talent Relations. Now, from there, folks, things would get a little bit silly as we had our second match of the night, which is the Tuxedo match, as Santino Marella takes on Ricardo Rodriguez, and a lot of people were looking at this match and dubbing it as time to go walk the dog, time to go take a leak, time to go grab another beer, time to go see how my laundry is doing, because this match, I watched the match because I have to let you all know that I did not see the pay-per-view, what all had transpired, and this was one of those type of matches I wish that time could have been given back to me. I actually wished that WWE could have gave me some type of credit back for watching this pay-per-view, because with regards to this match, it was just downright silly. It was a wasted spot, I feel. I said it on the Call That Match special. I still feel the very same way. This should have happened on an episode of Raw. It should have happened on an episode of SmackDown. I really just was not invested in this match. Now, let's just cut right down into it, because it really wasn't even a wrestling match. Basically, these two guys just stood in the ring, and they were just taking turns, literally just ripping each other's clothes off and rumbling in the ring like two girls in a mud bath ring, and eventually Santino would win as he would just strip all the clothes off of Ricardo Rodriguez. But where it got really silly was the cameraman, my God, folks, had to literally zoom in on Ricardo's rear end, because Ricardo is in nothing more but a pair of underwear, but the cameraman has to zoom in on Ricardo's butt, because these particular draws hold significant value, because it's not Fruit of Balloons that he's wearing. It's not Calvin Klein that he's wearing. No, he has Alberto Del Rio, a cheesy Alberto Del Rio, as he's smiling on the rear of Ricardo Rodriguez, and it was just really, I must admit, that was a little funny, because it was like, okay, why are you having a guy who you work for, why do you have his face on your ass? Are you trying to imply something? As it was very embarrassing right there, but nonetheless, I was very happy that this match was over with. As from there, folks, we go to a backstage segment now where we see Matt Striker, who's caught up with the WWE Champion, CM Punk. And Matt Striker, he says to CM Punk, hey, what's the deal with you and AJ? What's going on there? CM Punk would say, hey, there isn't anything going on. And Matt Striker says there's no relationship, there's nothing. CM Punk's like, no, there's no relationship, nothing's going on. Hey, I did crazy, but it's not about me liking crazy chicks. It's not about AJ. It's about the WWE title. And right now, I am more focused than ever. I have to be, because I am taking on a technical technician in Daniel Bryan, and I am taking on a monster in Kane. And this is what it's all about for me, which is beating the odds. And I have done it time and time again, and I will definitely do so tonight. AJ would interrupt him, and she would say, hey, I just want to wish you luck, and she would give CM Punk a kiss on the cheek. CM Punk, he looks at her for a few seconds, wipes the lipstick off the side of his face, and tells her luck is for losers, and he walks away as AJ is standing there smiling on as Matt Striker has the microphone, and he's trying to get a word in with her, but AJ just gives him this mean, evil eye look, and Matt Striker just says, okay, forget it. He just throws his hands up because he realizes he's in a really bad spot right there. Now, from there, folks, we go to our third match of the night, which sees the Intercontinental Championship being put on the line as Christian puts it up for grabs against my man. He's no longer dashing, but he's always going to be dashing in my book, Mr. Cody Rhodes. I love Cody Rhodes. I can't get enough of this guy. Phenomenal wrestler, great talker. I just love how these two have been slowly working their program within recent weeks. And this was another match where I said it on the Call That Match special that it had the potential of possibly being one of the show stealers of the night, but that would actually go to Ziggler and Sheamus. But this match was definitely right up under that, as it was very impressive. These two guys, they really brought it. Christian would retain his Intercontinental title tonight, and I just get this weirdest vibe, folks, that Cody Rhodes, Christian, they definitely are not done by a long shot. And as I said on the Call That Match special for this pay-per-view, if WWE is really smart, they could give this the Matt Hardy taking on MVP during the summer. For you WWE fans that remember, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a summer a couple of years ago where Matt Hardy, MVP, they were in a bitter feud, and they were putting on fantastic matches, seemed like every single week, for at least 3, 4, maybe 5 months. It just dominated the summer. I have a feeling that if they're smart, they could definitely do these two guys the same way. I would personally love to see that. I think they have a ton of material that they could work off of, and the chemistry between these two, I think they definitely have something that could last for a good minute here. Hey, whether or not it'll happen, I'm not sure. But personally, it would be nice to see feuds last a little bit longer, other than for 1 month. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and see how they do that. But again, Christian would retain his Intercontinental title. Now, let's go to our next match, which is the fourth one on the card, if you all have been keeping track, as Primo and Epico are taking on the Usos, Darren Young, that is, and Titus O'Neil, and Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd, and a fatal four-way. And remember, folks, number one contender spot is up for grabs, as whoever wins this match, then that tag team will be the new contenders to face the WWE Tag Champions. And, of course, AW, Epico and Primo's promoter, if you will, would play a very serious role in this contest. Now, one quick note, I thought it was hilarious. Booker T, is very rare I say, hey, I thought Booker T, what he said was really funny, or, oh, that made a little sense. Well, Booker T was actually on point when he brought up Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, because he will point out how these two guys, as masculine as they look, were wearing these hot pink skin-tight trunks, and he called it bootylicious. So, Booker T, of all the words to choose, man, that one was actually on point, as I couldn't stop looking at their trunks. I mean, it was just hot pink. I know Damian Sando is kind of wearing the hot pink, but you don't really pay attention to it. You just go, a guy wearing pink. But you put two brothers out there and you got these really bright hot pink colors, you can't help but kind of stay glued to that for the entire match. But luckily I was able to pay attention to everything else that was transpiring in this match. And kudos to WWE, because they really, in my mind, they really put the spotlight on their tag division in this, on this night, on this pay-per-view. It was really nice to see all these guys just really get it on. great tag team action. You almost, if you weren't paying attention, you almost kind of have a revelation that, wow, WWE, they not only have a tag team division, but WWE, they also have these great wrestlers that, hey, I wouldn't mind actually seeing them on a weekly basis. Oh, this is a tag team? Yeah, oh, they're pretty good. Yeah, I actually want to see them now. Okay, maybe I'll tune in on Raw or SmackDown, see if I can watch them again. I really love how WWE put the spotlight on their tag division. All these guys, they did not disappoint. They were damn impressive. In particular, and I've been giving him praise within recent weeks because I've been very pleased with his work, Tyson Kidd, very freaking underrated. Very freaking underrated. This guy, he was at one point having a singles run, and then he keeps being thrown into the tag division. No matter the case, he makes the best of the circumstances, and he was looking very impressive in this tonight. But, of course, Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, they were just really, really on point in this match. Now, here's where it gets very tricky. As towards the end of the match, we would see Primo, I believe it was, that was outside of the ring because Tyson Kidd, he went to the top turnbuckle and he just literally, he did this maneuver from the top turnbuckle where he just crashed on all the other guys as they were outside of the ring getting it on. And AW, he would pick up Primo and he would roll him back into the ring. And you're kind of saying to yourself, wait a minute, what is he doing here? Why is he pushing Primo in the ring? Because Primo doesn't even look like he's 100%. He didn't even stand on his own 2 feet. What the hell is going on here? Well, we would see, I believe it was, don't quote me, because I really can't remember now. I believe it was Darren Young that was in the ring that would pick up Primo. And he just did this devastating air maneuver where he did a double knee strike to Primo's abdominal region, and he was able to pick up the win that way. So Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, they become the new number one contenders for the tag team titles. But post-match is where it got really heated because AW, he rolls in the ring and he's celebrating with O'Neil and Darren Young, and as they're celebrating, Primo and Epico, they come around and they have a few choice words with AW. They're like, hey, what the hell is going on here? What are you doing? You're supposed to be working for us. What does this mean? What the hell is going on here? And they were very livid as they struck AW, and this prompted Young and O'Neil to attack Primo and Epico. So really great little development right there with the tag division. Got me very curious to see how this is going to play out. And from there, folks, we see a plug for WWE next pay-per-view as it's going to be Money in the Bank. That's going to be coming on Sunday, July 15th. So you all make sure that you mark that down on your calendars. Money in the Bank, Sunday, July 15th. We'll be definitely going more into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view as the weeks go forward. But one name I hope will be involved in this pay-per-view is Wade Barrett. Hopefully he will be very close to returning. I definitely miss this guy. I thought he was tremendous during his last run with the company before he got seriously injured. From there, folks, we see a recap of Triple H having his battle of words with Brock Lesnar and seeing Brock Lesnar attack him, to Triple H having his heated words with Paul Heyman a few weeks back on Raw, as it's that time. It's time for Triple H to come out and address the WWE Universe with regards to what all has been happening to him since last we saw him, because as we had last seen, Triple H had 2 lawsuits coming at him from Brock Lesnar and from Paul Heyman, as Triple H put his hands on Paul Heyman. So Triple H had to do a lot of serious talking down at the WWE headquarters with the board of directors, meeting with lawyers, all that mojo jojo stuff. So we see Triple H. He comes down to the ring, and I got to admit to you guys, I was a little bit disappointed with what I saw with regards to Triple H, because I'm saying to myself, okay, this is the pay-per-view. I'm already eliminating out of the equation that Brock Lesnar's going to pop up, because that would just be a wasted space. That it just really wouldn't make sense to have him pop up, especially when his dates of appearances is very limited. So it just made no sense to have him pop up tonight. So for you all that were looking for Brock Lesnar, I'm sorry. It just really did not make sense for him to pop up tonight. But what I was expecting was maybe perhaps a video package of Brock Lesnar appearing on the Titantron, or maybe Paul Heyman has some type of a video package that pops up on the Titantron, or Paul Heyman actually makes an appearance himself. But we wouldn't get that. We would just get Triple H in the ring, flapping his gums, mentioning how all his life it seems that it has been in the ring, and that the only thing he's ever wanted to do was be in the ring, that he never wanted to get a real job, and that all these years later, here he is with a real job, but it's a corporate job, and how 5 weeks ago he had to deal with a lot of crap, such as depositions, lawyers, and that he's not really a corporate type of guy, that he's more of a fighter, an ass kicker. That's what he is. That's what he does. And he points out how he has this idea, and that it only matters if it's a good idea to one guy. Now, with that being said, Triple H mentions how Brock Lesnar claims that he's in the WWE to fight, that he's not an entertainer, he's not a lawyer, he's a fighter, he's an ass kicker, and mentions how Brock Lesnar had attacked him from behind, broke his arm. Now his arm is feeling better. In a couple of more weeks, it should be at 100%. A few more weeks after that, he'll really be good to go in ring shape-wise. And Triple H would put out there that the two of them, they should just get right down to the heart of the matter, as by the time all these weeks will pass, it'll be somewhere in the middle of summer. So Triple H says, hey, let's go ahead, let's put all these lawyers, let's put the lawsuits, the legal stuff, the fat, balding manager, Paul Heyman, and make it just be about them doing what they do, which is being fighters. And Triple H would proclaim he wants to fight Brock Lesnar. And where does he want to fight Brock Lesnar, folks? He wants to fight Brock Lesnar one-on-one at SummerSlam. Now, we heard the rumblings about this for quite some time now. Well, the trigger has been officially pulled, as it's out there now. Challenge is out. Will it be received is a different story. As Triple H would point out to Brock Lesnar, let's fight, let's get it on, you and me, let's do it, I'll be waiting. Or, hey, you could be a quitter and not do this. It's up to you, but either case, I'll be waiting. And it doesn't really do me justice to end this Triple H piece without making fun of the guy, because as I'm sitting and I'm watching him talk, I'm just seeing the nose hairs from his nose just really flaring up, and I've got to do the Triple H impression. I've been told I do a pretty good Triple H impression, so I'm just going to do it. Brock Lesnar, you, me, SummerSlam. And I'm like, really, man, you're overselling it. That's really too overdramatic, man. You're just, keep cool, Daddy, keep cool. That's all I kept saying to myself. I was like, dude, you're overselling it. Keep it cool. So I was really happy to see that this segment would end, as it was just all but a bunch of talk. And this is a pay-per-view, folks. If you want to watch people talk, that's what you got Raw, and that's what you got SmackDown for. Let's just really stick to the in-ring action. So from there, folks, we go to a backstage segment now where we see AJ, who creeps up on Daniel Bryan as he's warming up, trying to get ready for his match. And she says to him, hey, I know that you and me, we've had our ups and downs, and I know you really don't want to have anything to do with me, but I would just thought I'd let you know that, well, I just want to wish you luck. And she gives him a peck on the cheek. And Daniel Bryan, he's just standing there with this look on his face like, I got her wrapped around my finger. I think I'm going to get this title tonight. That's the look that he has on his face. Now, from here, folks, we go to our fifth match of the evening, which sees the WWE Divas title being put on the line as Layla defends it against Beth Phoenix. This was another match where a lot of people were saying, it's really hard to get into this match. And actually, one of our followers that checks out the show regularly by the name of, I believe his name is Nanu Business. I believe that's his name. Yeah, that's his name? Okay, thank you. He pointed out how the Divas division, it needs to be a little bit more, they need to really bring it back home. They need to bring it back to where it was a few years ago, where you had Trish Stratus, Lita, Chyna, where it was actually relevant to pay attention to the Divas division. And, hey, folks, I love women's wrestling just like the truest fans that can appreciate women's wrestling. And, yeah, it's unfortunate that what's been going on with the WWE Divas division as of late, we don't need to go really all into details about that. Hey, maybe that could actually be a future episode that we could do in the RCWR show. But regardless, we got Layla defending her title against Beth Phoenix. And I must admit, I was once again disappointed by the performance of Layla, who tried to do a little bit of showboating in the ring, and she would grab Beth Phoenix tiara and put it on her head, and she would shake her butt around the ring, make fun of her, flex her muscles, making fun of Beth Phoenix's poses and stuff. And this was just really upsetting the hell out of Beth Phoenix as she tried to give charge at her during the contest. And, it was just really one of those matches where I could really tell that Beth Phoenix was trying to do everything she could, as instructed, to put over Layla. And it just really had me saying to myself, okay, Layla definitely doesn't deserve to be the women's champion right now because she's just a weak champion. And I don't know what this trend is with WWE, but it seems like once they actually get a hold of a diva that can actually wrestle her ass off and she can actually talk on the microphone, it seems like they have this nasty trend of taking the title off of them and putting the belt on somebody that is the complete opposite, that is just basically a skinny Barbie doll, if you will. So I was just really happy to see this match get wrapped up. And like I said on the Call That Match special, I just did not see Layla dropping the title tonight. I think, if anything, WWE, they're going to try to play with Layla for one more month to really see if they can truly invest in her. And if not, then at the next pay-per-view, then they're just going to go on ahead and maybe take that belt off of her. So if that happens come the next pay-per-view, just remember you heard it here first, okay? Because really, I just wasn't impressed with what I saw. And if you really think about it, and I want you guys that have definitely been paying attention to the Divas division, and if you've been paying attention to the career of Layla, I just want you to go down a little quick memory lane real quick. Think about her run when she teamed up with Michelle McCool and she was doing the whole flawless thing. It just seemed like that Layla was more on point than the Layla that we got right now. It just seems like, aside from a wrestling standpoint, that she's a different person on the inside. I don't see the same person I saw that was with Michelle McCool doing the flawless thing. What's going on with that? I don't know, folks. But from there, let's go on ahead and let's move to our next match, which actually just a little bit before it, we saw a backstage segment where AJ bumps into Kane. And in her own way, she tries to find the words to talk to Kane, but she's just fumbling, and she's, for the most part, being a little bit quiet, but she says to him, hey, good luck tonight. And she gives him a peck on the cheek, and she tries to walk away, but the big red monster, he kind of reaches his arm out there and grabs AJ kind of like, hey, hey. Sounds like that guy from Family Ties. I don't know if you guys remember that show, but the guy that used to come around the house, hey, or Fonzie. There you go, Fonzie, Happy Days. Hey, that's how Kane was kind of coming off as he grabs AJ and brings her in closer. It was kind of like, you're going to give me a peck on the cheek like I'm your brother? No, you're going to give me some tongue. You're going to give me some lips. As Kane, he just let AJ have it, lip lock-wise. And AJ, she's just standing there with this look on her face like, what just happened? As she walks away, as Kane just looks on, kind of pleased with himself. Kane, moving up, man, doing really good. Last time we saw Kane with a woman, ooh, Kelly doesn't count, folks. I would say it was Lita. We're not going to even mention Katie Vick. That doesn't count. So anyway, folks, from there we would see our sixth match of the night. As guess who's making an appearance? No, it's not the Power Ranger. No. It's Sin Cara as he's taking on Hunico. And this was one of those, okay, why do we have this at this pay-per-view? Because at this point, it started to come off like I was watching an episode of SmackDown. No disrespect to SmackDown. A lot of times they put on a really good product. Half the times as of late, it seems like they've been putting on a better product than Raw for some weeks. But this was one of those matches where I really didn't have too much of an investment in it. I would have preferred to see somebody else in this. But I was happy nonetheless. I mean, honestly, if you would have asked me who would I have liked to see in place of this, I would have personally loved to see Darren Young and Titus O'Neil work double time. They win their number one contender match. They come on out later that night, and Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, they have to defend the tag titles. Now, for you all that's been keeping track on what all's been going on wrestling news-wise this weekend, you all know that for several WWE house shows, R-Truth wasn't even representing as the tag team champions, that it was actually Zack Ryder that was teaming up with Kofi Kingston. So it's a possibility that R-Truth might be injured. How injured, we don't know, but it's a possibility that WWE might be testing it out with the pairing of Zack Ryder and R-Truth to see if maybe Ryder could fill in until Truth heals up. If R-Truth is really that messed up, then I would have loved to see some type of a backstage segment where Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, they jump R-Truth, and as a result of that, Kofi Kingston is running around trying to look for a tag partner, and he has no choice but to team up with Zack Ryder. That could have explained some stuff right there. Maybe that actually is in the works. We'll see how that pans out. But regardless, we have this match with Sin Cara taking on Hunico, and it was impressive, just what we remember when they were doing the whole Sin Cara versus Sin Cara feud. Sin Cara would pick up the victory here. Now, let's move on to our seventh match of the night, as it's that time right before our main event, as it's leading up to that point. We have the WWE Championship being defended by CM Punk as he takes on Daniel Bryan and Kane in a triple threat match. And this was actually one of those matches where you could actually find yourself invested in Kane. You could actually find yourself rooting on for Kane, because very interesting statistic would be put out there for Kane. Kane has not held the WWE title in 14 years. So with that in mind, you're saying to yourself, well, damn, maybe, just maybe, tonight might be Kane's night. And I know a lot of people were on the fence with this particular triple threat match because Kane was thrown into the mix A lot of people sat up and said, Kane doesn't need to be in this. He's going to mess up these guys' momentum, keep them out of it. That actually was not the case, as early on in the contest, we would see Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, they're just delivering their patent trademark kicks to Kane, and the crowd, just all at once, as each kick is coming from the respected wrestler. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and Kane is just getting messed up, okay? But Kane, he actually served a really good purpose in this match, folks, as I was actually very impressed with what I see. Kane, he really doesn't get enough credit in the world. I'm not saying he's a Kurt Angle. He damn sure is not a Brock Lesnar, but he has his own set of moves. But at the same time, when you pair him up with the right people, and they did right from a booking standpoint, putting him in this match against CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, it was a great element because you did actually kind of come off feeling as though CM Punk's title could be in jeopardy. And, of course, the real story of this match is, was AJ going to play any part of this contest? And if so, how? And most importantly, when was AJ going to come out? And AJ would, in fact, come out. As at one point during this contest, we have Daniel Bryan, who's been taken out. He's outside of the ring, licking his wounds, trying to come around. We see AJ, who runs down the ramp, and she gets up on the top rope as Kane is handling his business against CM Punk. CM Punk, he does some type of I believe he did an Irish whip. I believe the Irish whip came from off the ropes, and Kane, he bumps into AJ, and poor little AJ, who weighs like 80 pounds, she just goes flying off the top apron and just lands really bad on the canvas. And Kane, he's just looking on, trying to see what the heck just happened as he realized he bumped into somebody. By the time he turns around, CM Punk delivers that nice trademark kick to the head, that kick to the temple. Kane, he's just automatically dazed. CM Punk would take advantage. He would hit Kane with the attitude adjustment, and he would pick up the win and retain his WWE title. But the real funny story was post-match, as Kane, who at this point really didn't care about losing the match, he cared more about what was happening with AJ, as he picks her up and is getting ready to take her to the back. And we see AJ look back at CM Punk as their eyes did lock, as CM Punk is looking on at Kane. CM Punk and AJ's eyes would lock as AJ would give a devilish smile to CM Punk. So, a lot of people, they were like, what the hell did we just watch here? She faked it, folks. That's what happened. She faked it. She did what she needed to do to help CM Punk retain the title. That is basically what happened. And from the camera angles that they showed at least 3 to 4 times of AJ smiling, hey, I was loving this. Like I told one of my friends on Twitter, I said, man, the way they did this, it almost in a weird sense pays homage to Eddie Guerrero, because this would be some crap that Eddie Guerrero would do, because remember, his whole thing was lie, cheat, and steal, do whatever you got to do to win. And AJ just really just fit that role perfectly. And I actually went out there and said, man, if Eddie Guerrero was still alive today, man, if they would like pair AJ up with him, that would be some really hilarious and interesting stuff right there. So I was really pleased to see what had happened. She was really throwing it down in that retro valet type of aspect for the wrestler back in the day. She earned it. Now, let's move on to our next match, folks. I called it. I called it on the Call That Match special. I tried to tell you guys. Y'all didn't want to believe me. I called it right. I said, expect Ryback to make an appearance. It just only makes sense. They got some time they need to kill probably. look for him to come out because they're really trying to sell the hell out of him right now, well, we would get Ryback. Ryback, he took on their names at this point, folks. It really doesn't even matter. We just call them created wrestlers. You all that play WWE 13, the video games, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. For y'all that don't get that, I apologize. But you gamers, y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. Ryback is taking on two created wrestlers in this match, and he just squashed the hell out of them. Like I said, their names not even important. Hey, Ryback, he did receive a nice little pop from the crowd, though. So nice to see that trend is continuing as Ryback, he's been letting it be known for a couple of weeks now. Feed him 3. Feed him 3. He wants 3. Give it to him. I'm just saying, give him 3. I would like to know when it's going to happen. He's been asking for at least, I think it's been 2 weeks now, he's been asking for 3 opponents. All right, folks, we got our main event of the evening. This is it. This is the show closer as we have Big Show taking on John Cena in a steel cage match. Now, we know somebody's going to get fired in this contest. And, man, did we have a ton of people that were crapping on this match. One guy actually sat up, and I was just rolling out of my seat when I heard this. He actually said that this match was worse than the Tuxedo match between Santino and Ricardo Rodriguez, because for the first 10 minutes of this match, we would just see Big Show just flinging around John Cena like he wasn't nothing, just like he was taking off a T-shirt or something, just throwing it into the hamper. That's exactly how Big Show was doing John Cena. And the action would slowly start to pick up. I must admit, the match seemed pretty slow. It seemed boring. I actually remember hearing a few boring chants early on, but then they started to pick it up a little bit, and Big Show, he would start bringing it. He would start doing some stuff that he usually has no business doing. And by that, folks, I mean Big Show climbing to the top rope from the corner and delivering an elbow drop. I'm talking about Big Show trying to pull a Undertaker old school type of move, climbing on the side ropes, delivering an elbow drop. I mean, Big Show was really putting some stuff out there in his moveset tonight that just made me say, damn, for a big dude, I mean literally, 7'2", 500 pounds for a big dude, this man was just really just flying all over the place. I was just amazed at what I was seeing in this contest, especially when it started to finally pick up a little bit. And we would see Big Johnny, John Laurinaitis, Vince McMahon, they're looking on as we got one referee in the ring watching everything that's going on. We got another referee that is outside of the ring looking at everything that's going on. And at one point during this whole contest, because let's just skip right through all the stuff in this match, such as who punched who. It was really just kind of a snoozer, if you will. Let's get to the heart of the matter. One point in this contest, we would see John Cena try to go for the steel cage door. Well, we would see Vince McMahon open that steel cage door, but John Laurinaitis, he pushes Vince McMahon, and as a result of pushing Vince McMahon slams the steel cage accidentally across John Cena's head. So Big Show is now sitting up, and he's trying to get the upper hand, as now we got John Laurinaitis taking out the referee that's on the outside. Now we got Big Show who's trying to sit up, and he's trying to leave the ring. But guess what happens here, folks? And for a lot of people, they weren't really able to connect it, because we would see a series of wrestlers that would come out and try to stop Big Show. Now, one of the guys that we would see come out would be Santino Marella, and we would see Alex Riley. Remember, it was a couple of weeks ago where Big Show had attacked these guys respectively. Santino, backstage area, then he did something to him. I believe it was on an episode of SmackDown where he was really going to work on him, and he did something to Alex Riley backstage on an episode of Raw a couple of weeks back. Matter of fact, it was during the Memorial Day episode where he was just really going all over the place, beating up the entire WWE roster, or at least half the roster. So Big Show, he would take these guys out real quickly, okay? Took them out. Now, we would see Brodus Clay. Brodus Clay is coming out. He's got a steel chair. He's trying to sit up, and he's trying to make sure that Big Show doesn't leave. Well, Big Show, he's still trying to do his thing. He's still trying to leave. Brodus Clay, he calls out somebody. Who comes out, folks? It's Zack Ryder. Now, somebody please explain to me the following, because I just could not understand this. We got Zack Ryder, who climbs up the cage as Big Show is trying to climb the cage. And as Zack Ryder climbs the cage, like as soon as he jumps up and he's on the cage and he tries to climb, Big Show just punches him through the steel fence. Now, when I say through the steel fence, I don't mean Big Show's fist went through the fence, because it didn't. Big Show just, boom, and Zack Ryder, I'm just trying to understand how does that happen, because I did not see Big Show's fist literally just make a dent impression through the chain. I'm just trying to understand how is that possible that he can punch somebody through a fence. So for those of you that are on hold waiting to be live on the air, that's a little brainstorming for you right there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because I just wasn't buying that. And from there, folks, we would see one more person come out, which would be Kofi Kingston. He would come out, and Kofi Kingston was the one that finally got things right, because Kofi would jump up on that steel cage, he would climb up, and he would just start landing punches to the face of the Big Show, as Big Show has Kofi by the neck, and you just know that this could get really ugly, as Big Show could possibly go for a choke slam at that height of where Kofi is, but that doesn't happen, as Kofi is just relentless on his attacks. I believe he even got in a few kicks, as Big Show would just go crashing down in the ring. Brodus Clay, he's trying to call John Cena on to come to. John Cena, he sees everything that's going on. He tries to climb out of the ring, but Big Show was able to grab him by the ankle, and he tried to pull him back. But in the course of pulling him back, keep in mind, Big Show is still kind of not really at 100%. John Cena, with the last little bit of energy that he has, he takes advantage of Big Show still being weak and puts him in the attitude adjustment. From there, John Cena would eventually climb the cage. At the same time, Big Show is trying to exit the cage through that cage door. So now it was a matter of, well, who's going to get it first? John Cena, folks, would sit up and he would drop out of the steel cage, as it almost looked as if both men exited the cage at the same time. But it was Cena first. 3 seconds later, it would be Big Show, as John Laurinaitis was officially fired, as Vince McMahon would grab the microphone and inform John Laurinaitis that he has been fired, as Brodus Clay has John Laurinaitis by the arms. He's behind him and he's holding him as the message is delivered. John Cena, he is looking on very pleased at what all has just transpired, and he tells Brodus Clay to go ahead and let the former Raw and SmackDown GM go. And John Laurinaitis, he would try to take a swing at John Cena, but no mas, as John Cena puts John Laurinaitis through an announcer's table to end this pay-per-view. So now we know which John has been fired on this night. Now, overall, I thought that this pay-per-view was fairly decent. I thought that it was definitely a strong showing. I know that a lot of people were a little bit on the fence about this pay-per-view when they initially saw the card, because leading up into the pay-per-view, we had probably only had about maybe 5 matches that were announced, and a lot of people were dubbing this as, oh, this is going to be the worst WWE pay-per-view of the entire calendar year. We had tons of wrestling websites that were like sitting up and just proclaiming that this was going to be a really bad pay-per-view. Honestly, the areas that to me seemed like it hurt that they could have done without: the Tuxedo match and the Divas match. And I already said the Divas match, you could have replaced that with the tag titles being on the line. Sin Cara, Hunico, it could have stayed in there, but the Divas match, really, they could have got rid of that. But, overall, folks, I would definitely have to give this pay-per-view a pass. I think it did the job. It served its purpose. Scale of 1 to 10, I'll have to give this pay-per-view I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10. And that's being gracious, because I'm leaning more towards 7.5. But I'll go ahead and I'll say, actually, 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. And just to recap, it's a 7.5 out of 10 because they could have done without the Tuxedo match. They could have done without the Divas title being on the line. And they could have put a little bit more zest into the Triple H coming out and just talking. I understand that they were trying to sell SummerSlam, but I think that his appearance should have been saved for Raw. But at the same time, I understand why they probably had him make the appearance at the pay-per-view is because of his name and to try to pull in more pay-per-view buy rate. So I can respect WWE for adding him to the pay-per-view, but I just feel his purpose would have been served better on Raw. Let's hope that maybe they can capitalize on Triple H and make him appear tomorrow night on Raw. Well, that's going to do it for the review. We're going to do this. We're going to take a commercial break. It's going to be actually a very brief one. And then when we're done, we're going to go on ahead and we're going to take some of your calls, because I believe, yes, we do. We see a couple of people on hold. We're definitely going to go right into our phone zone and get you guys live on the air. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on the pay-per-view. We're going to take a brief pause just for 90 seconds exactly. So hope you're enjoying this WWE post-show so far. If you haven't grabbed that code one yet, go ahead and grab it, and we'll be coming right back. You're listening to the Sunday night edition of the RCWR post-show. We'll be right back, folks. Sit tight.
Hey, everybody. Need that wrestling fix? Check out InfinityOneProductions.com, where you'll find honest and original wrestling stories and news. Also, be sure to stay plugged in 24/7 by following us on Twitter at InfinityOneProd and on Facebook at Infinity One Productions. Want to be part of the show? Want to share your thoughts? Call the RCWR Show toll-free at 1-888-342-9848. You're listening to the RCWR Post Show with Lee Sanders.
All right, and we're back, folks. You're listening to the Sunday night edition of the RCWR Post Show. I'm, of course, as always, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. Thank you all for checking out this WWE No Way Out Post Show. So, for you basketball fans, if you might have missed out on the latest NBA Finals game. We definitely got your hookup as Game 3 goes as follows. The Miami Heat have defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder 91-85 as LeBron James scored 29 points, 14 rebounds to take the Miami Heat over Oklahoma City Thunder as the series is now 2-1. So with that in mind, let's go on ahead and let's go right into our phone zone. We got a few people that are on hold. Without any further ado, we're definitely going to go ahead and take you on the air. Now, when you come on the air, please let us know and the listeners know your name, where you're calling from, and proceed. So, on that note, let's go ahead and let's do it, folks. First caller from area code 210. You are live and on the air, my friend. Say hello.
Hi, this is Homie the Clown from San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, homie, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I thought the pay-per-view was solid. Could have done without a lot of things, like you mentioned, the Tuxedo match. The Divas match was kind of poor. But I really didn't care for the Triple H segment. I thought it kind of took out of minutes from other matches, and I think it could have waited on Raw. You could have started Raw off with that, brought more viewers into that. It's just pointless. Why have him on the pay-per-view just to announce that he wants to fight Brock Lesnar? Something that we already knew that he wanted to do.
Right. Very valid point. Very valid point indeed. What would you give the pay-per-view overall, scale of 1 to 10?
1 to 10, I'd give it a 6.
A 6?
6.5 is stretching it.
Right.
They had good matches. The Ziggler match, the triple threat match was outstanding. I just think they just threw so much on the pay-per-view just to throw it on there. Like the Ryback, you didn't need that. The Divas match, it was poor. The Tuxedo match was just boring. I mean, you can't expect much from a Tuxedo match. But it was just boring. And the main event was stale. I didn't care for it. You know, the Cena, it seems like WWE always has to have Cena in the main event no matter who's the champion. And it sucks for the WWE fans out there. You know, when's the last time CM Punk has main evented a pay-per-view? I can't even remember. And it's horrible.
Yeah. Nah, you're right. You bring up very valid points indeed. Very valid points. All right, homie, thank you so much for calling into the show. Definitely appreciate it. Feel free to check back in anytime. Definitely appreciate it there. Let's go with our next caller now from the 575 area code. My friend, you're live on the air. Say hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, now, how's it going?
It's going good. I thought the pay-per-view was actually pretty good. I went ahead and gave it a 8 out of 10. Reason being is I love the title match. It was a pretty good match, but the ending really sucked. I was expecting more out of AJ in that match, especially. And she came out and only did like a 1-minute thing where she gets knocked off the apron, and that was the end of the match.
Yeah, it was definitely, What was your high points?
High points, definitely where John Laurinaitis got fired. The first match, Ziggler, Sheamus, Tuxedo match, they could have done without, but it was pretty funny. And the Triple H announcement could have been better if Brock Lesnar would have came out, or Paul Heyman at least.
Right. Nah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, no doubt about that. All right, thank you so much for the call. We definitely appreciate it. Feel free to call back anytime. Yeah, for you all that might be listening to the show for the very first time, if you definitely like what you're hearing, definitely spread the good word. This is how we do it every single week. You can catch us live Tuesday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, and you can also catch us at 10 p.m. Eastern on Thursday nights immediately following Impact Wrestling. Let's go ahead and let's go to the 269 area code now. I know who that is. That's my boy Dave. You are live on the air, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, all right. How'd you like the pay-per-view, bro?
Man, I'm kind of disappointed. It was good for a Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
But for a $45 pay-per-view, I mean, $45. I mean, it's a lot of money to spend on a W pay-per-view. And there were some good matches, but I mean, I don't think they even needed Triple H on there. They could have saved that for Raw just to say that. Mm-hmm. And why not just say Triple H will be here next week on Raw?
Yeah.
And you're the one that tweeted me on Twitter saying that you can go walk the dog during this crappy tuxedo match.
Yeah, hey, that was me. And I literally did for a few minutes. I walked the dog, but then I came right back in. I said, I got to watch this, unfortunately.
I mean, that could have been on the pre-show. I'd rather see Brodus, Clay, and Otunga than that.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing, folks. For those of you that didn't watch the YouTube exclusive for the pre-show, the Otunga versus Brodus Clay, that was better than that Ricardo Santino crap.
I think Donald Trump and Rosie O'Donnell would have been better.
What was your high point for the match?
For the night?
Yeah.
I think Christian and Cody Rhodes stole the show more than Dolph Ziggler, the show stealer, did, because there was counter after counter in that match, and it was an unbelievable match, I thought.
Yeah.
And I got a question for you, my friend.
Yeah, what's up?
If Daniel Bryan doesn't, say he doesn't get another title shot, does he go on to Money in the Bank and maybe do like CM Punk and win it twice? Or does he just get pushed back to the mid-card all over again?
Okay, I'll definitely go ahead and handle that. Thank you so much for calling in. Definitely appreciate it, Dave. You know, you're an RCWR member. You know, we know that you listen to the show each and every single show. We definitely appreciate the love there, bro. You know, honestly, you would think that maybe Daniel Bryan would probably go that route, but I don't see that happening. And like I said at the very beginning of the show, actually midway into the show, when I was talking about WWE's next pay-per-view coming up, which is going to be on July 15th, and it's going to be the WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view, I strongly am crossing my fingers and praying that Wade Barrett is going to be ready by that time, because remember, folks, originally there was going to be a Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania, but because Wade Barrett got injured, they went on ahead and they said, okay, let's just scrap that altogether. Let's just get rid of it. So I'm hoping that Wade Barrett is going to be ready, because if Wade Barrett is ready, then that's actually the guy I see winning Money in the Bank. I don't think it would really do Daniel Bryan any good right now. Honestly, and this is what I said on the Call That Match special as far as the reason why I felt CM Punk was definitely going to retain the title. And this is good trivia for you guys that are listening right now. Keep this in mind all the way up until October, all right? Feel this for a second. You got CM Punk, who was just revealed to be gracing the front cover of WWE's newest video game that's going to be coming out in October. So it really doesn't make sense right now, between now and then, to have the title be taken off of him and put it on somebody else. You want as much momentum for CM Punk leading up until that video game is released. Because think about it. Let's say October rolls around and you have a different WWE champion. That kind of conflicts with who's on the front cover, you know? So I see CM Punk holding on to that WWE title for a good minute. Now, this is despite the fact that originally at the Over the Limit pay-per-view, WWE Creative were strongly liking the idea of putting the title on Daniel Bryan. They were so close to leaning that way, but I think when they really started thinking about it, they realized that would actually be a bonehead move, and that it made more sense to put the title, have it be remaining with CM Punk. Do I see anybody that could take the belt off of CM Punk? Yeah, but it's not going to be Daniel Bryan. Honestly, I see Dolph Ziggler he's going to get somebody's belt before September. I can promise you that right now. The strong effort that he showed tonight if I were a betting man, I see Dolph Ziggler taking one of those two belts before September. If I really had to put it all out there, I'm eyeballing CM Punk's title. Honestly, I see that happening. I think if WWE is smart, they should have Ziggler be feuding with CM Punk, and they should have Sheamus go back to working with Daniel Bryan. I'm all for CM Punk and Daniel Bryan locking it up, but honestly, I think that if they play this right, and I've been saying it for weeks, WWE, go on ahead, SummerSlam, make it happen. Make it be CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan in an Iron Man match. You won't be disappointed. The fans would freaking love it. And then just let that be it. Let the feud cool off for a while. Let it pick back up at next year's WrestleMania, because I think the two of them could really have the truest, greatest match of all time at the pay-per-view of pay-per-views. So let it happen. That would really be freaking awesome. But, yeah, that's where I'm going with that, folks. All right, so on that note, and we definitely got to take this time out to thank all of you that had took the liberty of calling into the show and sharing your thoughts on how you either enjoyed or disliked the pay-per-view. We definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate all of you that are in the chat room. And to my man, NJ Brock, I totally freaking agree, man. Let it be a submission-only Iron Man match. I think, man, same time next year we would be sitting up saying, oh, match of the year. You got to make it match of the year. Seriously. 30 minutes? No, it's got to be, look, okay, 45 minutes. NJ Brock, it's got to be at least 45 minutes. SummerSlam, 45-minute Iron Man match. I know they got to do other stuff, but I'll at least make it 45 minutes, man. 45. That's not asking too much. It's not every day you get to see it. I mean, come on. All right, but anyway, we got to thank those of you that had chimed in and called into the show tonight. We really appreciate the love. Thank you to all the people that have participated in our chat room. Thanks to all of you that have took the liberty of listening to this episode tonight. Really hope that y'all have had a great time. Really hope that you enjoyed the show. We work really hard to put on a great show for you guys each and every single week. Now, in case you all didn't catch it at the beginning of our show, I'm going to be stepping out of the wrestling ring, talking-wise, and I'm going to be doing a very special piece on the life of Rodney King and talking about the L.A. riots, as I used to live in California back in 92 during the L.A. riots, and I can remember very vividly what all had transpired when I was out there, and it's going to be a really great piece. Definitely check that out. It's going to be happening this Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can check it out on blogtalkradio.com/TheRCWRShow, and you can also check it out on our sister website over at InfinityOneProductions.com. It's going to be a really great piece. Of course, we'll be coming back on Tuesday, immediately after that special, and we'll be doing our regular episode of the RCWR show, get you caught up on everything that has happened with WWE Raw, and also the very latest in wrestling and entertainment news. So that's going to do it, folks. In the meantime, if you like this episode, check us out. Download all our episodes for free. iTunes, Zoom Marketplaces, keywords, the RCWR show. And we're now on Stitcher. If you got an Apple iPad, if you got a Kindle Fire, you know all that good technology stuff. I don't need to break it down to you. Go check out the Stitcher app. It's free, and you'll be able to take our episodes with you on the go. Stitcher is the new way to play smart radio. On behalf of co-producer Tammy, Zed, I'm the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. Y'all, hope you had a great weekend. Hope you have a great work week. We'll see you this Monday night, folks. Take care.